It's a fair bet that most people might know about the nasty war that Russia waged in recent years to eventually gain control of Chechnya. But much less would be known about what's been going on in the neighbouring republic of Ingushetia. Throw Ingushetia into the ubiquitous Google, and almost crystal ball-like evocative words like restive and volatile come spilling out. Dateline's Evan Williams has just returned from the tiny self-governing republic, where the locals are up in arms, claiming that Russian security forces have launched a killing spree. And a warning, this report contains disturbing scenes.
In the Caucasus Mountains along Russia's southern fringe, a hidden war is escalating. Moscow says it's battling militant Islam in the tiny republic of Ingushetia. But people here say hundreds of innocent civilians are being tortured and murdered.
He says we can no longer walk, our teeth have been broken, our jaws are broken, we desperately need some help.
They say they live in terror of a Russian security apparatus out of control. We arrived in Nazran, the largest town in the mainly Muslim Russian Republic of Ingushetia. We were taken to a house where we were met by a crowd of grieving women. Just a few days earlier, at 5:30 in the morning, 400 heavily armed Russian soldiers had surrounded the house.
And then what happened?
Сына тоже так вот взяли, поставили. За нами русские ходят, мы впереди ходим. Двери открываем, дом показывает.
She said the soldiers dragged her outside and kept her son Musa here on the floor.
Русские здесь 4-5 часов были здесь. Меня не пускали, сына не выпускали отсюда. Соседей не пускали, никого не пускал домой.
Hedy led us to the front room where she thinks the soldiers then took her son. Angry relatives tried to explain what they believe happened next.
One of the relatives is saying you can see here the outlines of a blood stain. They believe this is where he was tortured and killed.
Next, they showed me a small cellar. They told us they thought troops put Musa's body in the cellar, then blew it up with a grenade.
They point to bits of flesh and blood that are on the side of the brick, and if you look up at the ceiling, you can see the signs where the grenade blast has gone in. The shrapnel has ripped into the ceiling and the door.
Rashid, a cousin of the dead man, had filmed his body. It had been torn apart. Musa's father, Salambek, told us his son was 27 years old and was taking exams to be an architect. He had just got married and had a 1-month-old baby.
Why is this happening? Why are the Russians doing this?
Им нужен Кавказ без кавказцев. Они хотят нас уничтожить. Мирные, добрые люди им не нужны, и все.
Salambek claimed young men were specifically being targeted to wipe the Ingush out as a race.
Абсолютно невиновных людей уничтожают. Я считаю, это на уничтожение нации идет.
Это же прекратиться должно же. Я не знаю. Это же продолжаться не должно.
Ingushetia is officially a self-governing part of the Russian Federation, but we could see Moscow's influence and its troops everywhere.
That was just a traffic police checkpoint, but we have to be very careful how we film here. We have to keep it very low key, because while we've got accreditation to work anywhere in Russia, the authorities don't really want foreign journalists down here.
Camera down.
For centuries, Ingushetia has been run by a system of clans. We'd been told that many of them had been targeted by Russian security forces. Mugsharib Alshev heads a clan of 20,000 Ingushetians. His home is surrounded by closed-circuit cameras and armed guards.
They've got weapons in here that they're legally allowed to have for their own self-protection because he fears they could be attacked at any time. Last year, Mugsharib said, several truckloads of heavily armed Russian troops stormed his compound using armoured personnel carriers or APCs.
Они утром рано в 6 часов, 2 БТР врываются в этот двор, они снесли ворота железные на улице, ворота снесли и врываются в этот дом. Один БТР с крупнокалиберной пушкой. Вот здесь прямо поставили они БТР. И в БТРе через этот усилитель и кричали там матерились они. Ну, выходите, суки, туда-сюда. Вот такие разговоры вели.
They came in and smashed up the office, turned everything upside down, and were shooting around the compound.
Я получил информацию.
They were shooting at his wife, and they threw this little fellow to the side and fractured his arm.
Очень серьезную информацию, что готовятся меня убить.
Mugsharib told us he believed the only reason he wasn't killed or captured was because he wasn't in the compound at the time of the attack. We moved away from the children to discuss the scale of the violence. Mugsharib told us this wave of killing started in 2002 when Moscow installed a pro-Russian president to rule Ingushetia.
С 2002 года по 2004 год за 2 года было убито 457 молодых парней Ингушетии. То есть их объявляли террористами, боевиками, подбрасывали оружие, все что. Каждый убитый, их родственники взяли оружие, а если они берут оружие, куда им пойти мстить? Эти сотрудники поддерживают российские войска с ними, а они уходят, естественно, к боевикам.
Checkpoint, we better put the camera down right now.
With checkpoints on all the main intersections, we had to take back roads to move around. Rashid, the cousin of the dead man whose grieving family we met earlier, asked to meet us at a graveyard just outside Nazran. Rashid revealed that his cousin wasn't the only family member to be killed recently. His brother and 3 friends had been buried here just the week before.
У нас есть мы точно не знаем, есть информация, что они наткнулись на место проведения спецоперации на дороге, которая ведет в Средние Очелуки из нашего села. На этой дороге они были задержаны.
Rashid told us he believed his brother and friends had been tortured, and to hide the signs of torture, security services had blown their bodies up in a car. Security officials said they were rebels, but Rashid denied this.
Вот что самое обидное, они говорят, что они подорвались на собственном взрывном устройстве, которое хотели заложить куда-то. Подкинули им какой-то автомат.
He told us he couldn't fight Russia because it's too powerful.
Лично у меня нету никакого желания, нету возможности, никаких средств идти против такого огромного государства. У этих людей есть власть, за ними государство, за ними все вот эти спецслужбы, за ними все.